Dominican, papi. I remember when I was a kid, right? I'd tell people I'm Dominican and they'd go, what the hell is that, right? I had to explain to them that this is a Caribbean island, like fairly close to the United States. Good food, that type of thing. Now you just got people that just know what the DR is. Like, I never thought this would be a reality. I'm telling you, it blows my mind. This is crazy. We got guys in clothes 2 sizes too small, denying that they're black, okay? Salsaing the shit off, as they would say. You know, you've seen the video. Everybody's seen the video. So Dominicans have gone from an internet culture obscurity to an amalgamation of tight pants, plantains, and merengue. What a time to be alive. So, all that being said, I got a pumpkin pie cooling off there. So in the meanwhile, in the interim, I thought, I should share a few things, growing up, both my parents, Dominican as it gets. We got the 100 proof Captain with the Coke Zero. I'm practical and reasonable. So I figured I might as well share some stories as a kid, having Dominican ass parents. All right. Core memory number 1. Baseball, okay? Every weekend my dad would go, and it was like him and a whole battalion of Dominicans would just show up almost like the clock striked noon and they all just pulled up to the baseball field at the exact same time. Just lines of Hondas, just endless Hondas rolling in, just blasting music, you know how it is. And I just remember, because I was young, like 5 or 6 years old, my dad, he would play and then I'd just kind of be wandering around in the field, like throwing a ball, hitting it with the bat and like chasing after it, that type of thing, right? Well, one day I saw the most massive ass bug. I was trying to figure out what it was. It might have been a katydid. I don't know what it was, but I took my bat to that thing and I just crunched that bug right. I remember it was up on like the fencing for because there were multiple fields. So I was at another field. It was up right up against the back of the fencing for like somebody that was playing on the other end. And I just rammed the freaking bat on that thing and I started flying because it started going like it started sizzling and stuff. It was insanity. I couldn't believe it. But like in my kid brain, it was like a foot long at least, because I'm holding a kid bat, so it's probably like 24 inches. And that thing had to have been at least half as long as that. So maybe it was a katydid, maybe it was I don't know what. But I took that thing out. It was done for. And it wasn't hiding either. Like, it was bright green and a foot long on a chain link fence. Like, this thing had zero survival instincts. It deserved what it got. And I just remember I was so damn thirsty, right? And I all these people that were just watching the games, they'd be sitting around with like coolers beside them. And I'm like, perfect. Let me just ask somebody for some water. Because I asked my dad and he's like, oh, I don't have any. Thanks, Dad. And I'd go up to people. And I just remember this one group of dudes. Like, it was like 2 guys. And it was like the most early 2000s thing you could ever imagine, right? But Dominican, of course. They're like, I asked them, I'm like, hey, could I get some water? And they look at each other. They laugh and they go, oh, sorry. We only got adult water, buddy. And I look at the cool. They open the cooler. I look at it. It's like Coronas and Coors. That's all they had. Like, great. Thanks. Appreciate that. So after years and years of walking around the fields, swinging the bats, hitting the balls, getting the hand-eye coordination up, now we got to talk about the parties, the loud music, the loud everything, actually, for that matter. Always loud. Always, like, there's no such thing as like a library type voice or like an indoor type voice. Just all cylinders at all times. Always with these people. Hold on, am I just a living stereotype? If you were to hang out with my family, you wouldn't even know that we were having like a good time, that we were chilling, that everybody was, feeling it, having a good. I need more words. It's like a 70-30, 100 proof Captain to Coke Zero mix, by the way. Moving on. But you wouldn't even know that everyone in my family's having a good time, because all you hear is people screaming at like the top of their lungs about everything, and nobody's waiting until anyone else is done to start talking. They're all just going at once. It's absolute chaos. Like, I've been to plenty of parties with like people drinking and getting loud, but like probably the closest thing I could get to, like, if your family is middle class, upper middle class, and you're white, okay, and everybody's drunk and over the age of 35, you know how it gets, where everybody's screaming and hollering. And if you're not already drunk, your ears are just going to be throbbing, right? Because it ain't quiet, okay? That's what it's like, but everyone's sober. But it's not just that, okay? Because when my mom would be driving me around, okay, it's like early 2000s, she's listening to NSYNC, Baby Bye Bye Bye. I just heard the other day that Justin Timberlake was in NSYNC. I didn't know that, okay? This is news to me. All right. But that's crazy because I'm a Justin Timberlake fan. Okay. Somebody's like, oh, you like Justin? I'm like, of course, man. I love Sexy back. Right. I'm bringing Sexy back. Am I a fake Justin fan? Okay. But anyway, you know, we'd be listening to the classics. Okay. Like Suavemente. Okay. Dile. You know, my boy Don Omar. You gotta love him. Gasolina, of course. Daddy Yankee. Can't go wrong with that. And we can't get past this section, all right, without mentioning the grip that Aventura has on like the Dominican, Puerto Rican, like unk status. I guess now everybody that listened to that then is unk. So like the unk demographic of Dominicans and Puerto Ricans that are absolutely obsessed with Aventura, you would not believe it, okay? Like Obsesión. This song is literally about wanting to get with the chick and like stalking her and doing these, like the most quick tangent, all right? Spanish songs in general are just, there's like 3 topics they touch on, okay? Cheating, wanting to cheat, and getting caught cheating. Like it's like the number 3 things. Nobody else is doing anything else. I guess like if you're on like an island, all right, you only have so many options, okay? So the morals go out the window and, you gotta do what you gotta do. But yeah, my mom would be blasting this music super loud, and I'd plug my ears sometimes because it was so loud, and she would swat at my hands. She would swat at my hands, right? And be like, take your fingers out of your ears. I'm like, okay, I guess I'll just let myself get deaf then. I appreciate that, okay? And I remember my dad, you know, he would be blasting like the same stuff. Like some of the Spanish cheating songs, they would go into like general, I can't fucking talk. Look at what is this shit? That's fucking foul. But yeah, my dad would be driving. He'd start lecturing me, right? And he'd hit me with one of those, right? Where he's driving and some lyric is playing on the song, and he'll repeat the lyric. And while he's repeating the lyric, he'll like put his hand like on my chest, like to get my attention, right? Because I'll just be looking out the window wondering like, man, look at these beautiful green pastures out here. This is fantastic. And then back to learning about how cheating is not right, as if that isn't something you should already know. But, you know, it is what it is. Oh my God. And we cannot get past the song. This is the number 1 song. If you've never heard a song that like teaches you how to like live about your life, it's gotta be, I forgot the name of the song. Let me look it up. Okay, I found it. It's gotta be Donde Están Esos Amigos. This song is literally about being up. And when you're up, all your homeboys are around you, right? But then as soon as you're down, right, the supposed people that got your back disappear. And ain't that the truth, okay? So that's a goated song, I would say, 100%. All right, Dominican core memory number 3, okay? It's got to be the weird pets, all right? I had a number of pets growing up, and some of them are like pretty normal, but then like stuff gets kind of weird. Like I remember this was probably one of my first memories. I used to have a bird as a pet, and not like one that you had like in a cage, and you know, it was like a parrot or something like that. I think it was a crow. Okay. I think it was a crow, and it was in a shoebox, and frankly, I'm not even sure it had holes poked in it, right? And I would grab the bird, and I'd pet the bird, and I loved this guy so much. And then my mom was like, you need to let this thing go. Frankly, I was like 4 or 5. I don't know how I even got hold of this bird, right? But I was devastated. I was crying for days. Okay, I had to let it go. Like I distinctly remember like opening the shoebox, and on like the back side of the house, you know, it's got like the little patio on the 2nd floor, putting the box on there and just letting this guy go. And he just went, and I was just, my heart was shattered right then and there. But my dad, you know, he's terrible at taking care of pets. He still is, like, to this day. Matter of fact, the reason I even have a cat in the first place is because he randomly decided to get one and then did next to nothing to take care of it. So I'm like, okay, I'm stepping in. And of course, then I caught the feelings, and here I am. And now I'm a cat dad. It's that easy. Right. My dad had like a number of iguanas. Okay. And I want to say a number because I don't ever think it was just one iguana. He would have a number of iguanas. They would disappear. They'd probably die from like him forgetting to feed them or something, or getting ran over, some strange thing. But I do remember when I was like, I think in kindergarten, maybe 1st grade. Okay. Back then, you know, all the kids would go out like in the dismissal area, whatever, like in the courtyard of the school. And we'd be standing around like in our class groups waiting for our parents to pick us up because a lot of people just walked from home. Well, one day he came and he brought the iguana. And so like I just took the iguana and put it on my shoulders, and I was small enough at the time. Like I always had a big ass head, but my head was small enough at the time that the iguana could actually wrap around my shoulders. And I was just walking around freaking out all my like classmates with this iguana. It was an amazing time, right? And this is where we start getting back into the trauma, okay? This is serious stuff. I had a turtle, all right? It was a red-eared slider. If you've ever seen one of those, okay? Very exotic animal, hard to come by. And I had that guy for like 5 or 6 years, okay? I call him, like whenever somebody asks me his name, I called him Mike. Like as a kid, I called him Mike, but his real name was Tori, which I guess you could sort of call like turtle-y, sort of. I don't know. But that was my guy. I was in love with this dude. I could, like, if I had him like in my hand or something, I could give him like little pets on his head, and he'd bring his head up it'd be a good time, you know? I'll never forget that. And I used to give him little ham and cheese sandwich bits. I would make like a toasted, like I'd get 2 pieces of toast, right? With the ham and the cheese and the butter on the toast. Cut that boy diagonally, always diagonally. And I'd take a little tiny nibble, like right before I was done with the sandwich, I'd just have a little bite, and I'd open it. I'd slide his tank open, right? That little top part with like the screen door on it. And he'd be waiting for it too. He'd be waiting for it, just like looking up through the water. He's like tracking me, right? And I just drop it. And I swear to you, by the time that even hit the water, it was in his mouth. He would just catch it. It was insanity. That was incredible. I'll never forget that. Okay. You guys drinking anything? You should be drinking something, all right? Within reason, okay? Don't make it a habit. So anyway, I had this guy for like 5 or 6 years. I was in love with this turtle, okay? This was like my second love, okay? Because listen, I was a crybaby as a kid. Anything and everything made me cry. It doesn't matter. So I had this guy for like 5, 6 years. And around that, I was like 11, maybe 12. And my mom was like, okay, I'm tired of taking care of this thing. I'm getting too old. My back hurts, right? So she told my dad, hey, get rid of it. I don't know what he did with it. If he dumped it off like off the road in some like woods area. Hopefully my boy is still alive. Who knows? But I never saw him after that. So like I resented my mom for like 3, 4 years. I'm telling you. Because think about it. You're growing up. You're right about to hit that like adolescence time. And at a moment where, you know, things are shifting, you don't really know like where you're falling. You're like, hey, I can do this. And then someone who's taking care of you is like, yeah, no, you can't do this. I'm getting rid of this. And without even giving you the chance, right? So that was a big deal. Okay. But we got over that, and it's over with. Okay. So yeah, I'm always going to love turtles, because one of my, like, yeah, maybe a crow was my first pet. And like the other pets that I ran into, like I didn't really take care of them like that turtle. But the turtle, you know, I had for so long, he was my boy. He was chill. He was just a cool guy. So I'm always going to appreciate turtles. Okay. Just saying. So yeah, these are my Dominican experiences. Okay. I hope this has brought you closer to what it's like to have parents from the Dominican Republic while growing up in the United States. Not really related. I feel like this could have been literally anybody that had these weird things, but you know what? We're just going to frame it as being a Dominican thing, okay? All right, like, so all this happened, and meanwhile, I was also going to like the bodega, you know, getting like the empanadas and stuff. I used to get the pizza empanada, right? It was incredible, for $1. Now you go to the bodega, same empanada, right? It's like $2.50, $3 for a single empanada. Holy shit, what happened to the economy, okay? I guess inflation, all right. Let's not get into that. But I want you guys to let me know your experiences with Dominicans, okay? Are they trustworthy? All right. Are empanadas better than mango? Okay. What's mango? It's like a mashed plantain with like, my mom would make with like a lot of like olive oil and stuff. A little bit of cheese on top. Melt the cheese on top. It's like so good. That whole like red onion thing, she never did that, okay? And I just want an empanada now. I could go for an empanada for sure. Like a beef and cheese empanada. Okay, I'm not talking about that. Funny aside, okay? So this dude, like you're like the literal Dominican overlord right here, like the supreme king of Dominicans, this guy right here, Romeo Fitness. He put up a video where he actually said that he was going to be wearing looser clothing, right? Because if 100 people complimented him, 95 of them were gay dudes trying to put their thing up in him. And he's like, love you guys, but I'm not about that, right? So I think it's hysterical, okay? You know, pros and cons. Are you a Dominican? Are you gay? I guess that guy's not gay. This light is really bright. My eyes are fucking killing me. Yeah. Let's keep doing this.